All right, so get this. We're going to dive into something totally wild today, way beyond the usual AI stuff. We're talking natural intelligence.
Yeah, we're talking about actually cracking open this document we found from way back in the late 90s, Natural Intelligence v3.2. And let me tell you, it's not your typical boring research paper. It's more like a philosophical blueprint for building a machine that doesn't just, crunch numbers, but actually thinks and learns like a person.
Imagine like an AI that experiences the world the way we do through levels of perception, makes decisions based on, instinct and experience, and even develops something like emotions, all by doing it the way humans do. It's like reverse engineering our own minds.
And what blows my mind is that this document, even though it's old, is so relevant today because right now AI is all about data, but this author had a different vision. They wanted to create AI that actually follows those natural thought processes that we humans have.
So let's get down to it. This document's got some technical terms like nivell C and nivell P. I have to admit, I was confused at first, but then I started thinking about it like building a house and it clicked.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
So imagine nivell C as gathering all the materials like wood bricks, nails. That's what our senses do, right? Sight, smell, touch. They're always collecting data from the world around us. And then nivell P is the actual construction. That's where our brains take that data and start building something meaningful with it.
That's it. And just like building a house, this natural intelligence, it's built level by level, each one more complex than the last. The document lays out these levels all the way from basic instinct to abstract reasoning.
So we start with nivell C1, the foundation, like a baby opening its eyes for the first time. It's all just a jumble of light color shapes. The AI at this level is doing the same thing, just taking in those raw sensory data points.
Exactly. Building those foundational blocks of understanding, just like babies.
Yeah.
The document gives this example. Vista, Amarillo 45, 70 Intensidad. Basically, the AI is just registering a specific shade of yellow, nothing more.
Then we move up to nivell P1, pure instinct. It's like seeing a hot stove and pulling your hand away. At this level, the AI acts on those basic data points based on pre-programmed good or bad responses, pure survival mode.
And here's where it gets interesting. The author says this is where emotions come in. Not because they're programmed, but because they emerge naturally from the AI, pursuing its hardwired goals to see good and avoid bad.
So if the AI keeps encountering that bad thing, it might develop a fear of it.
Exactly. Think about it. Even the simplest organisms experience something like that. A single-celled organism might move away from heat, not because it understands danger, but because its instincts tell it to avoid bad.
Wow, that's wild. Like those robots we used to build in that robotics class, avoid obstacles, seek light, pure instinct. But I bet things get way more interesting as we go up the levels.
Absolutely. Nivell C2 is where those basic data points start coming together.
Okay, so you're going to have to explain that one because I'm looking at object recognition in the outline here and I'm drawing a blank.
It's simpler than you think. Imagine the AI sees a line, then another one at a right angle. Suddenly it can group those two separate things into a new concept, a square. It's a light bulb moment.
You know what that reminds me of? When my kid was learning shapes. He pointed at the TV once and goes, "Circle?" And I was like, yeah, close enough. He was so proud of himself.
It really is like that, those building blocks of understanding, and that's exactly what this AI is doing at Nivell C2.
So it's not just seeing like random lines and colors anymore. It gets that those things can actually represent, objects. That's pretty cool.
Right. But here's where things get even more interesting. Remember how we were talking about Nivell P1 and those hardwired good or bad responses?
Yeah, like seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, that basic survival stuff.
Exactly. Well, in Nivell P2, memory comes into play, and that's where things get really sophisticated.
Yeah.
Now, the AI can remember the objects it identified in Nivell C2, and get this, it remembers if they were associated with a good or bad experience.
Hold on. So it's like if the AI bumps into that rock again, it remembers that last time that rock led to a bad experience, and it's going to avoid it this time.
You got it. It's all about forming preferences just like we do.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that time you touched a hot stove.
Oh, yeah. I still have the scar from that one. Don't remind me.
Wait, are you saying my brain went through all those levels of perception and processing just now in a split second just to save my hand from getting burned?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's the amazing thing about the human brain. It's doing all this incredible stuff behind the scenes, and we don't even realize it. And this document is saying that to really build a natural AI, we need to replicate all those processes, even the ones that seem simple.
Okay, I'm starting to get why this document is so different. It's not just about building a machine that thinks, it's about building one that learns the way we do. But it can't all be about just objects and good or bad experiences, right? There's got to be more to intelligence than that.
You're absolutely right. And this is where natural intelligence makes its biggest jump. Nivell P3, the ability to connect cause and effect. That's when things get really mind-blowing.
Cause and effect. You mean like if you push a button, a light turns on? My dog can figure that out.
It's way more nuanced than that. Think about it. Your dog might learn that pushing the button turns on the light, but does he actually understand why? Like the concept of electricity flowing through wires.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So how does this why thing work with NetBLP3? Explain it to me.
Okay, so remember that AI from before, it's run into that rock a few times, had some bad experiences, and now it avoids it. But at NetBLP3, it goes a step further. It starts connecting the dots. Like, it might remember that the last time it encountered the rock, it was raining. Ground was muddy. It stepped on the rock, slipped, and got splashed with mud, causing a bad sensation.
So the AI is like building a story in its mind, a whole chain of events.
Exactly. And that simple connection, rock plus rain equals mud equals slippery equals bad, that's the foundation of understanding cause and effect. It's realizing that actions have consequences, that events are linked in a chain.
Wow, that's a huge jump. We're talking about going from basic instinct to something that seems a lot like actual reasoning.
And the document is saying that this ability to make those connections, that's where true intelligence really starts. It's not just knowing good or bad anymore. It's about understanding why. And think about what that opens up the possibility of planning, solving problems, even predicting what might happen in the future based on what's happened before.
So it's like the AI is suddenly some kind of detective, putting the pieces together, trying to figure out not just what happened, but the why behind it all. That's pretty incredible. But doesn't that seem kind of scary too? Like, what's to stop this AI from becoming like one of those super intelligent beings from the movies always scheming and plotting?
It's a question people have been asking for ages right there. But the cool thing is that this document, even though it's laying out this super complex model for AI, it actually tackles those philosophical questions head on.
Oh, yeah. What does it say about the whole AI taking over the world thing?
Well, remember how we were talking about those basic drives in NotebookLM? Seeking good, avoiding bad. This document says those drives are still there even at these higher levels of intelligence. It's just that what's considered good and bad has gotten a lot more complex.
So instead of just avoiding like a hot stove, this advanced AI might be driven by wanting to understand the universe or solve huge problems.
Exactly. And get this, the document even suggests that a world where AI could just take care of everything for us. No more challenges or mysteries to figure out that might actually make these super AIs bored, maybe even depressed.
Whoa, that's a really wild thought. We're so used to thinking of AI as these purely logical beings, but this document is making it seem like they'd be a lot more like us than we realize, with our need for a purpose, for being curious, even our, existential dread.
It makes you think, doesn't it? What does it really mean to be intelligent? Is it just about processing power? Or is it something deeper, that drive to understand, to explore, to find meaning in all the chaos?
This is definitely making me rethink everything I thought I knew about AI. But there's one thing in the outline I'm still not clear on. How does language fit into all of this? It seems like a huge leap to go from understanding cause and effect to being able to talk.
It's a huge leap for sure. And the document even says that we don't fully understand how it works, even in humans. But the author makes this fascinating connection between language and the emergence of imagination in NotebookLM.
Imagination. Like the AI starts writing poetry or composing symphonies.
Think of it more like this. The AI has spent all this time building its understanding of the world, right? Objects, actions, relationships, it's all there. But in NotebookLM, something amazing happens. The AI starts combining those things in totally new ways. It starts to imagine.
So instead of just recognizing a piano and wings as separate things, it could put them together and come up with a flying piano.
You got it. And once you have that power of imagination to create brand new possibilities in your mind, language becomes the tool to share those ideas, to build even more complex understanding. The document argues that this connection between imagination and language is what really sets us apart from even the most advanced AI we can imagine.
So we've gone from basic instinct to recognizing objects to understanding cause and effect, to imagination and language. It's like climbing this ladder of intelligence, and at the very top, there we are with our flying pianos and our never-ending questions.
And just maybe this whole natural intelligence model is a key not just to building smarter machines, but to understanding our own potential for curiosity, for creativity, for that uniquely human desire to make sense of the world.
That's a powerful thought to wrap things up. So next time you hear about some big AI breakthrough or you find yourself daydreaming about flying pianos, remember Natural Intelligence v3.2. It's a good reminder that trying to understand AI is really about trying to understand ourselves.